Welcome again, everyone, to G Squared Academy, where you know excellence is epitomized. As you can see on the screen there, we're gonna be looking at 13 keywords in science exam for CSEC and CAPE. And 13 keywords, you might be wondering, what on earth is that? But when we get in there, you're gonna see what we're talking about. You know, thank you everyone who has subscribed to my channel, like my videos, share them. Thank you for all the support that you have been giving me. I know that these videos don't come out as regularly, but right. So we're looking at 13 keywords in science exams. And what are we really talking about when we say keywords? So, you know, um, most students really prepare for their exam. They prepare for their science exam. They study, they do past papers, they watch videos, etc. However, you study. But there are just some words that they seem to misinterpret in the exam, and it just really kills them. It kills their confidence, it kills their answer, it kills a lot of things. And I just want to go through 13 of those words today, so you can understand what we're talking about. What does this word mean? If you see it in a question, what are they really asking you to do? Um, so you're better able to answer the question. All right. So without further ado, let us proceed. Right. So the first term is account for. Account for. What do we mean by that? Simple. Give reason or reasons for an observation. You have observed something, and of course, you use your senses to observe. You have observed something, right? Why is it that that observation has occurred? Why is it that you smell the perfume at the back of the room after it was sprayed at the front? You see what I'm saying? So that's account for. Next term is discuss. And what do we mean by discuss? Really, a discussion is a conversation with differences in opinion. And you have discussions every day. It's the same thing. Nothing changed in science. There's a conversation with differences in opinion. So what you're going to do when you're discussing is you're going to state reasons for both sides of the story, for and against. And then after you've stated reasons for both sides of the story, you're going to state why that point is for or against. Why is this point against the thing and why is this point for the thing? Right? When you do that now, you're not really giving your opinion in the matter, you're just stating facts because this is science and we really work on factual information. So you're not giving your opinion necessarily, you're just stating reasons for or against a certain situation, scenario, etc. etc. So that is discuss, conversation with differences in opinion. Next thing is justify. What do they mean by justify? All right. And before I even proceed, I just want you guys to recognize something. Almost every science question will come up with one of these terms, right? So once you know what they're asking you for, the other things are just decorations. The other words they're just some key things that you need to look for. Other things are just decorations. So back to the story now. Justify. When we say justify, we simply mean give reason or reasons why something occurs or was done. Why was something done? Why did we do that? Why did we use copper sulfate versus nickel chloride or something of that nature? You know what I mean? Give reasons for why something was done. And that's simply it. That you justify, you give a reason for why it was done. Then describe. This is nothing scientific. The term describe, and none of these terms are scientific in nature. It's just that they mean something specific in science to some extent. To some extent. So when we say describe, what we're really saying is talk about something so that the reader can get a vivid image of it. It's just like descriptive writing in English. It's the same thing. You're going to describe something, you're going to talk about it, you're going to tell how it looks, its shape, color, whatever things that you can use, and you describe the thing in detail. So when the reader reads what you're talking about, they have an image in their mind that, yeah, okay, I haven't seen it, but this is what it must look like. So if you were to draw it or show a picture, then what they imagined in their mind to what um would be similar to what they thought about in their mind, right? So that's your description. Next thing you have evaluate. Evaluate. All right. Difficult term. This is a difficult term to work with. Difficult term to work with because evaluate is a bit intense, right? But anyway, it simply means state and explain the importance of something. Why is this thing important? Example, a process, the Haber process, or a reaction like photosynthesis. Why is photosynthesis important? Evaluate the importance of the Haber process in fertilizer manufacture, or evaluate the importance of photosynthesis for life on Earth. Why is it important? Give some value, put some value to it. State and explain the importance of the process. Give its importance, basically. All right. So that is evaluate. Then now the next term we're looking at is explain. What you'll find is that a lot of these things are mixed. So they're synonyms really, right? So you're talking about one thing, explain, and then it parts of it refer to another term that you may have seen before. So when we say explain, make an idea, situation, or problem clear to someone by describing it. Remember, we just look at description, which as descriptive writing. So it's intertwined, right? You're making something clear. Okay. Now, after you have done an explanation, the person you have explained to should be less confused. They shouldn't be more confused after you have explained something to them. It should be clearer to them now what you're talking about because you have given an explanation. You have made it clear by describing it in detail. Okay, so that is your explanation. And before we move on again, I just want to point out something here that when you do your exam, you need to look at the number of marks allocated for things because we're not into giving away marks, right? So if it's 5 marks, you need to come up with 5 points, and you need to give the 5 points and explain those 5 points to get the 5 marks. Okay, so you have to look at the mark allocation for the questions as well. Okay, next term on our list is distinguish. Distinguish, and of course, this is not anything grandeur. Distinguish simply means state the differences between two or more things. And from an English perspective, between is for two things. When you say between, you're talking about two things. And when you say among, you're talking about more than two things. So distinguish between the two and distinguish among. Two or more, three or more things. Then now synthesize. Synthesize simply means to make or to construct. As simple as that. Synthesize simply means to make or to construct. It's nothing extraordinary. So if you're given a question where it says synthesize something, it means that you're going to make something or construct something. Maybe you construct a table, maybe you make a model, something of that nature. But that's as straightforward as it gets. All right, determine. Now, this usually has to do for you to find the answer for something, and it usually has to do with calculations. Used a lot in chemistry. Determine the mass concentration, determine the molarity, determine the current passed through the electrolyte. In physics, determine the force or the pressure, something like that. Usually has to do with a calculation, generally speaking. So sorry, let me just go back a bit. So once you're asked to determine something, you're usually asked to calculate something. And now, people, when you are doing your calculations, make sure you include your units. Your examiner wants to see the units going through so that when you get to the end, they can see where you got your moles per dm³ from, where you got your psi from. They want to see these things. So ensure that you carry your units throughout your calculation. All right. Next thing is deduce. What on earth do we mean by deduce? Nothing again too tough. It means trace a course to arrive at an answer or conclusion. Trace a course. So how did you get to this answer? How did we get to this answer? You are going to show the examiner that you came from here, point A, to point B, to point C, and then I got to point D. That's how you get to your answer. And you're just going to write this, of course, in words. So that is what you do for deduce. You trace a course to arrive at an answer. You're showing the path you're using to get an information. And of course, the path you're using, you get the information for that from previous knowledge or from the question itself. Because the thing is that most exam questions have some indication of the answer in there somewhere or somewhere else on the paper. It is almost unavoidable that that is the case. When you do an exam paper, the answer for a particular question may be in parts of another question or in another question totally. Okay, so you're showing a path using previous knowledge or a question on the paper. All right, annotate, which really is usually referring to a biological drawing, right? Or diagram. And it just simply means to identify a part. So you identify the part. Okay, this is the stomach, right? And you state any special feature or function of the stomach, right? What is the purpose of this thing? What is its use? What is it good for? Something special about it. And that's usually your annotation. So you have identified and then you state any special feature. All right. Then now we have infer. Infer. What do we mean by infer? Similar to deduce. All right. Provide a reasonable, and it's not necessarily true. Notice I have that there. It's not necessarily true now. Your inference could be totally incorrect. But based on the information you're given, based on the observation made, you can say that it is possible that this is the explanation for the observation. Okay, so you're not necessarily, so you don't have to be, oh my God, it could be wrong. Yeah, it definitely could be wrong. But the fact that it is plausible means that you can get the mark for that inference. All right, so you provide a reason for it. Then now we have derive. Derive, which usually is a mathematical thing. All right, usually deals with equations. So you're mixing equations of similar quantities to arrive at a hybrid equation. Okay, so I for seriously, you can think about this mostly in physics, things like physics where you need to um, do this derivation of equations so that you can find an answer to a problem. You can determine the answer to a problem. So they may give a question where, they give you certain quantities, but they give you information to find those quantities or find other quantities, but you have to use other equations, put them together, find the answer to a certain quantity, then plug it into a new equation. Okay, so that's a derivation. If it is that you want me to show you a couple derivations that we could do, then you just let me know. Write a comment in the comment section so we can look at that. So I can show you exactly what I mean by derive or derivation of a quantity, okay, or an equation or quantity, something of that nature. And there you have it, folks. Or 13 terms. As I said, these terms are used in almost every single science exam. This is what they mean. This is what your examiner is looking for. And as I said, these are kill terms. Students misinterpret them. They don't understand what the examiner is really asking for, or they just totally bypass them. But these are the key terms in the exam. When you're given a question, look for these words because they tell you exactly what the examiner is asking you to do. If they don't ask you to determine something or derive something, don't derive it, don't determine it. If they ask you to state something and you go and explain something, then you are wasting your time, really. You simply need to do what the examiner is asking you to do. So thank you very much, guys, for watching the video. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel, G Squared Academy, where excellence is epitomized. All the best in your exams, which are coming up this year. And I'll see you next time.